it's hard and complicated, but it's also, I didn't know anyone else who has done that so far. You know, I always had like the dream of several companies, of building groups of companies in different countries.
Welcome to the Alphapreneurs podcast. I'm your host, 𝗖𝗵𝗿𝗶𝘀, founder of Taxstar and Alpha Pro Partners. Join me on each episode as we talk to inspiring Dubai-based entrepreneurs who share their stories, challenges, and secrets on building world-class businesses. I'm thrilled to have Chris join us on the show today. Chris is an entrepreneur. He's a founder of 𝗖𝗵𝗿𝗶 business setup. And he's originally from Germany. He's set up multiple businesses, and I'm really pleased to have him join us today. Chris, thank you very much. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Not every day you come across, usually in Dubai, I come across Brits, Indians, other Arabs, but you know, you're one of the first kind of, not that Germans are not in Dubai, but one of the first like entrepreneurs out here. Tell us about your experience of you've come from Germany to here. Germany is known for, you know, its cars, its efficiencies, its engineering. Dubai is more kind of, you know, Silk Road, emerging kind of hub. It's you know, sometimes when you go to meetings, people don't always turn up on time for meetings, whereas in Germany you're always on time for meetings. So it's very much of a different culture here as it is to Germany. Tell us about what made you come to Dubai, and how have you found the transition?
Well, I always wanted to leave Germany. I never thought to move to UAE, to be honest. My aim was always to live and work in USA. But yeah, 5 years ago, I made the jump. I come here for a week, but on the first day I arrived, I fell in love with the city.
Nice.
And then I went back to Germany. Yeah, 4 weeks later, I was back in Dubai again. So yeah, I always wanted to like grow as a person. I wanted to meet different people. I wanted to do different business. So I took this opportunity, because I think if you don't take the opportunity today, you won't do it.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. And you obviously moved from Germany to the UAE, to Dubai specifically. A lot of people come here, you know, they look for employment, but you obviously went down the entrepreneurial route. So tell us more about your entrepreneurial journey. Did that start in Germany? What kind of things did you do? You came here, and you know, many entrepreneurs who I speak to, you know, they love this place when they come here to set up a business. Tell us about your experience from that point of view.
Well, I can call myself like a full entrepreneur since 8 years. As a kid, I was always thinking of a bigger life, you know, like nice villa, laying on the beach, but how can I achieve that? But with like 16, 17, I already was like selling on eBay. I was importing like DVDs from Malaysia, from Alibaba. So I was already trading similar things, you know, on the market. And I fell in love with it in the end, because I could never be or work for someone. But I did for a long time, like say about 10, 13 years. I was working for companies as well. And then in Germany, that was say about 8 years ago, I had the chance to become an entrepreneur, because I partnered with someone, and he had an idea to open a cosmetic salon. Yeah, and you have one chance. I had one night, and I decided I'm going to do it. And I was still working as an employee with my ex-partner in the end.
Yeah.
And that's how my journey started. I had a company, cosmetics. Then I sold my shares because I wanted to go on. I wanted to do more. I want to achieve more.
Yeah.
Then I had another partner. We started a steel door company. We're selling doors in the end.
Yeah.
Quite successful. Between that, I was doing a marketing company. But I still wanted to go on. I didn't want to stop, you know. So actually, I was planning to, from then on, to go to America in the end. But then I landed in the UAE, and I gave everything up in Germany to come here, to go into a new adventure, to grow personally, to meet more people. And since 5 years, I'm here.
No, it's an amazing journey and an amazing story that you've shared with us. one of the common themes of a lot of my guests and a lot of my clients that I bring on to the podcast is the fact that not all of them started off going into entrepreneurship straight away. Now, I meet many entrepreneurs who probably wouldn't have had a family business and they got into it.
Yeah.
But the common theme is you start as an employee and then you jump to entrepreneurship, similar to my story as well. Tell me about that transition from employee to entrepreneur. There's many of our listeners who are listening to this and they're like thinking, you know, I want to quit my job and I want to set up my own business. How did that process feel for you? I mean, for me, I should have done it a lot earlier.
Yeah, me too. But you're scared sometimes. You don't know how.
Exactly. And I also believe that, and I've seen it with many of my clients, right? Once you get into it, you find a way to make money, right? You'll find opportunities. You'll meet people, you'll network. And sometimes, you know, a client that I've acquired happened to happen because I met someone for a coffee like 3 years ago, and that coffee resonated with them because I mentioned to them that I'm an accountant, and then they referred me to like a client who then came to me and did business with me. And sometimes these clients don't become one client, but they become 15 clients because they refer other people. So just bringing it back to that transition, how was that transition for you? I'm really interested to know you going from an employee to an entrepreneur. How was that for you?
Well, it always was my dream to do it. Between that journey, when I was an employee, I was always searching for someone, like a mentor or someone who has a business. So I was always like offering myself, I will do anything for free. But no one gave me a chance in the end, you know. No one like said, okay, Chris, I see something, I see potential. But I just didn't give up, you know. Every year I had another person I was like looking up to, but year and year went on. Nothing happened in the end. So then the opportunity came in the company where I met my ex-partner, and then working as an employee, and then building that cosmetic salon up in the end. We had doctors as well, and the company still exists in the end. It was quite easy actually, because I'm myself, we say males are not multitasking, you know, but I can say for myself, I am. I can do several things. But making that jump, as I mentioned, was always my dream. So it was easy, but I was scared, especially in Germany, because we have everything, you know, you have secure, and you have your people around you, the friends and stuff. They like, no one understands actually what your dreams are, or ambitions. And that made it also so hard, because I always was thinking differently than everyone else around myself. But the change come. But I can just say from experience, or as you just mentioned, if we had the chance, we would have done it earlier, because when we make the jump, it's easy actually, and you can start a business without money, because the money comes in automatically if you sell something and you use that money to reinvest again. So, but the thing is, we're just like, our mind is just scared sometimes. But now I think these days we have all these YouTube, and this video, for example, maybe it will help one person, just one person. I needed that like 15 years ago, for example, yourself maybe as well. You know, so in the end, it's easy, but you have to make the jump.
I also want to touch upon another thing that you mentioned, and that's about mentors. One of the key things that I see with entrepreneurship is you need to have mentors and coaches, and I talk about this in my in this podcast a lot. I myself have mentors and my own coaches as well. But can you give us some insights and stories about how your mentor kind of impacted you and helped you kind of become a better entrepreneur?
I had one person when I did the cosmetic salon. I met him in the gym. He's called Werner in the end. He helped me to grow as a person, to also say what I want, you know, because I was also like, say, small-minded. I was scared. I didn't have the confidence. So I had to grow as a person, and it's not easy. It's very hard. And then you become an entrepreneur, you know, and you have a partner, and you're leading things, and you're still working as an employee, and then you're in Germany and stuff. So he helped me a lot, because he was like my guidance. He said, Chris, you have to do this and that. And I did everything he told me in the end. And he said, if you want to change, you want to grow, you have to exit. That was also one of the hardest things to tell to my partner. He might watch this video. To say I have to leave. I want to go on. I want to grow bigger. I want something else.
This is when you was in the cosmetic business.
Yeah, in the cosmetic business. You know, that was my mentor. He helped me to make all these steps. And without him, I don't think I would have done it. So I think, 100%. Sometimes you need help. You need mentors. You need advisors. You know, to guide you, because if you don't use that, you will use a lot of time, and you're wasting your time of life in the end.
Yeah.
So every penny is worth it.
Yeah. No. Great point. So Chris, you have worked with many businesses, as you mentioned. You've worked with entrepreneurs from different countries as well. You grew up in Germany. You set up a business out here as well. So having met a diverse amount of people, entrepreneurs around the world, and worked in different regions, what kind of things have you learned as an entrepreneur? Or what kind of things have you taken that's made you a better entrepreneur, that someone who's watching this can say, look, you know, that's the one thing that I can develop or use to make me a better entrepreneur?
I think when you speak to many entrepreneurs, even if it's just one word, that will make you better. You will learn these things as well. Things you don't know, you will learn. So once if you take action, and if you speak to people or entrepreneurs, you always learn something. And also seeing different entrepreneurs from around the globe, that everyone is similar in the way, but still different. You know, like if you have a business in Germany, it's different. If it's in USA, it's different. If it's in China, it's different. If it's in UAE, it's different. And nationalities matter as well. So everyone treats people differently as well, thinks differently. And German entrepreneurs, of course, as you mentioned before, they are like, say, on time and do things. But if you
I was being stereotypical, right? So I'm sure not everyone's like that.
Not everyone, but you grow up. You grow up, and then when you come to the UAE, and you have, say, Arabians or people from India, Pakistan, they have a different mindset in the end. So you get used to that. In the beginning was hard, because you like why isn't it on time? Why doesn't that work? And then you understand that they just grow up differently. You know, you have to understand their mentality, how they think. For some people, they're like a bit more laid back. And then it's like the usual German culture. It's just everything is on time, like everything is strict, you know. But I think also now on this stage in Germany, for example, if you really want to grow and succeed like at a higher level, you have to leave the country. That's one thing. I think that's also why so many entrepreneurs, of course, it's a reason of taxes moving here, but it's not anymore the number one, because if you open a business here, it's hard. You have to compete with all the other ones. We have like 4 million people, so it's not easy. What people always think is easy doing business. So yeah.
And in terms of some of the traits that you've learned from a few entrepreneurs that you've come across, what are the kind of top 3 things that you've seen that make someone successful, in your opinion anyway?
When I speak to a lot of entrepreneurs, I think that you never give up. They also never give up. They always find like solutions. Like, for example, if they're tired of paying taxes, they find a solution. Where can they maybe relocate or open the business? So that's one thing. So they have a business, and they maybe say 40 or 50 or 55, and they still relocate. Like, if you have everything, you have your money, your house, and your company, but you still go for another adventure, it just shows they don't want to give up as an entrepreneur. In the end.
So the problem solving as well. Very good problem solvers.
Exactly, 100%. So it's like, you can, if you solve a problem, there's always business, isn't it? Look at Elon Musk, for example. It's like just one example. Everyone knows him. He solves problems. And look at him.
No. It's a good point. And in terms of, you know, the typical, you've obviously grown up in Germany, and now you've come here, you've set up your business. there are many things that work in Germany. There's many things that work in Dubai. Is there anything that you've picked up setting up your business here that probably wouldn't have worked in Germany?
Yeah, the many aspects in the end. For example, the consultancy which I'm doing, and I have also the real estate company, you know. So setting it up here, it's very straightforward and easy.
Yeah.
If you do it in Germany, it's a bit more complicated, and also I think it take more time to get the clients, because here you can just market, you can just start. Anyone can relocate here, get the residency, and open the business within a couple of weeks.
Yep.
And then you network, and then the business goes. In Germany is a bit more complicated. The starting point might be easy, getting the paper, but once you get the paper, then the complications start, as you then don't know what you have to fill in. You need a tax account, you need this law, you need that law, you have to pay that fee to the government. So it's very complicated.
There's more bureaucracy in Germany.
It's a lot. That's why it gets headache for a lot of people, you know. And when I speak to people from other countries, or like say especially Germany, they want to start a business, but then they don't, because they hear from friends that they moved to another place, for example UAE. And then they say, oh, okay, I'm doing marketing or consultancy. Why don't I just open it in Dubai rather than do it in Germany in the end?
I guess one of the things you touched upon is, you know, even in the UK, when you set up a business, sometimes there's a lot of competition, and sometimes it's hard to, you know, do marketing and put your business out there, right? Whereas Dubai, because everything's digital,
and everyone's doing it here, aren't they?
Everyone's doing something. Yeah, everyone's like wanting to know what's going on. Things always change. Like you work in real estate, there's always like a new development coming up, and people are interested to know what that entails for them, whether they want to be an investor or whether they want to be, you know, living in that accommodation, for example. Setting up a business, you know, it's a lot more easier than, you know, say other jurisdictions as well. And so I guess from that point of view, it makes it easy here, as opposed to say Germany or the UK.
I still have a business in Germany, in Hamburg, an e-commerce business, which I started in Corona times. 𝗖𝗵𝗿𝗀𝗻100. We sell on eBay, Amazon. I have an online shop. We have 20,000 products, drop shipping. Operated from here. I have my big team around. I have a warehouse, you know. But once you start the business, in the beginning it's hard, it's easy in the way then, but then it gets harder and harder as long as you do business, when you're making more money. You have lawyers coming, you have the tax government coming, you have a competitor coming, you know, so they're all trying to say destroy you in the end, you know. And here it's not like that in the end, you know. You don't have all these regulations. It's like you're always just fighting with regulation, with the government, with the tax government, you know. And it's just headache in the end, and that's so many people, they're tired to keep the company in these places. You know, they if they can sell it, they would sell it straight away.
Oh wow!
And I know a couple of Germans. Just today we had one client coming in. They needed attestation, and he can't wait to sell his company and just live here and travel the world with his wife. You know, it's just, and it's true, because I did it myself, and I still have my business now. If I would have sold it a few years back in the Corona times, because we made 10 million turnover in 1.5 years.
Oh no,
you know,
nice.
If I would have done it there, I would have got some good amount of money. But now I'm carrying on building it up. You know, so it's like the demand of people of investing or even buying properties has gone down in Germany. So that's the thing, you know.
But Germany is the biggest e-commerce market in Europe, right?
Yeah. It's
bigger than the UK as well, right?
It's bigger than the UK. Yeah, it's massive. People buying all the time on you have Amazon, eBay, then you have new Temu from China. They are, I think, number 3 or 4 already.
Oh wow!
You know, so it's a big market. Yeah.
And would you recommend? I know we've been talking about Germans leaving the UAE, but I come across many entrepreneurs who are based in the UAE and they want to expand to other markets. Germany is probably a good market for if you have a product. It's probably a good market to go to. So if you have 100%, products, right?
Yes, 100%. Depends on the product, of course.
Yeah. And
even if someone wants to set it up, I know how it works. I know I have different systems I built in. You know, so it's if it's some online business and e-commerce business, I done everything.
Yeah,
I built everything myself. I've changed the system. I changed warehouses. If you have a good product and you know it's working, if you do, say, marketing and you know the platforms, it's very good, 100%, yeah.
And you have to have, everything has to be in German as well, obviously, right? You can't just have an English product.
Everything German, certificates, regulations. You have to really be careful what you're doing. Pictures, you have to, like, if you steal some pictures from other ones, a few weeks later, months later, you will have a lawyer contacting you.
Oh, wow.
I have a lot of cases, a lot of different cases, because I'm like an entrepreneur. I'm like, I close my eyes, I just do. I don't think about it sometimes. Of course, you learn over the time, and you get stronger and stronger, and you have to face these issues, you know. So you just say, okay, you just go on, because if you get something and you get something again, you say, oh, I'm stressed, I'm tired, I'm getting scared, you will give up. So you just have to keep going, because in Germany, especially when you get papers from the government and lawyers, they're there to scare you. You're just like, oh, what did I do wrong, you know? But some of them doesn't lead to anything. That's what I learned as well. You know, you just keep going.
No. I mean, that's in most, for most entrepreneurs, right? So it's controversial, but you know, there are certain rules where, you know, you do things until something happens, right? But you know, we are obviously encouraging entrepreneurs to follow the rules, obviously, but there's sometimes there are gray areas as well, right? And with gray areas, it's more about you know, making sure you're not completely against the rules, but trying to grow a business and trying to, you know, serve your customers at the same time as well. And many entrepreneurs are in the gray area as well. So yeah.
But you have to succeed somehow, eh?
Exactly.
Like you say, you solve problems as an entrepreneur. You just do what other ones can't do.
Yeah. So Chris, you know, you've got businesses in multiple countries. You are able not to live in those countries while those businesses are running, which is amazing, and congratulations on achieving that. Can you tell us more about your system? You know, what kind of advice can you give in terms of the way you set up your businesses and how you are able to not be in the country while it's running as well? So, you know, you've got your e-commerce business in Germany, got one in Florida. How does that work? You know, the dream obviously for many entrepreneurs is to live on a beach and let their business run, right? So you kind of have that because you live in Dubai, you got the beach as well, right? If you want to.
Yeah, if we want.
So yeah, can you give us a bit more insights into your systems and processes?
Okay, to just stay on the beach all day, I would love to. I'm not on that stage yet. I could have probably have done it if I wouldn't have started the business here in Dubai. I could have done it. I wouldn't have, say, less responsibility of the office and the employees here and the setup and the real estate, but I choose to go a different path. Building the system, what I have, I always thought, or especially in the Corona times, or before that actually, something's going to change. You know, sometimes you have some feeling that something's going to change. And I always, before Corona, I was building my systems as I had the marketing agency. It was only a small agency, like I had 2 freelancers, a graphic, web designer. But still, that's why I integrated my systems, you know, virtual phone, Microsoft Teams, you know, websites and stuff. And that's where the idea come from, because I always had the dream, of course, of living somewhere else. I didn't know when it's going to happen. And then only 5 years ago, it did happen in the end. But building this system is just, it's hard and complicated, but it's also, I didn't know anyone else who has done that so far. You know, I always had like the dream of several companies, of building groups of companies in different countries. You know, some didn't succeed. You know, I started that idea in Germany already with like groups of company. It didn't work out, was too much. And then when I come to the UAE, I continued in the end, because when I come here to UAE, I had already, in that time I was starting the Corona business, the Hygiene 100. So I carried it on here in the end. And that's where I made a lot of money, doing what I can do now. But integrating all these systems. So I have my German company, I had my warehouse there, I had my employees there as well. And then managing from here, And then I was even living in Morocco for 6 months, and I was taking phone calls from customers and placing orders in the system. My web developer was in Pakistan and stuff like this, and my guys were in Germany, you know. It was amazing, the journey doing it as well. But always I was like upgrading my systems. I had my developer, he built his own system according to my needs, so I can be anywhere. I was driving in the car and I was receiving orders and then placed at the supplier sent it to the customer. So all these things, it's like it's all like connected in the end. But over the years I was always upgrading the whole system, and the phone system and the ordering system and the accounting system. And it's not just like, as you mentioned, it's not just one company, it's another company, another company, and then trying other companies which didn't work, you know. So it's a whole package in the end. But if there was somebody who already created this kind, I probably would have bought it, but I didn't.
Rather than set it all up.
Set it up, because it's not even finished yet. It's still not finished, because it's always something
to do.
Always something to do in the end, you know.
Yeah.
But having the company in Germany, still I could be anywhere, and it's a fully operational e-commerce company, you know, like warehouse, and then with the drop shipping products with Amazon, eBay. And a few months back now, I've changed the system. I have another company behind which I'm partnering with.
Yeah.
And they have a big team, which they are like doing all the marketing, the website development, the SEO, you know, all that stuff. It's all integrated in one. It's like one full package, which is even better. So that would let me scale even higher on more marketplaces, for example, you know, and still being anywhere in the world.
One of the things that I've noticed, we have clients in Saudi, we have clients in the UAE. A lot of them are e-commerce brands. They initially set up, but then they struggle.
Yeah.
And I think it's because people underestimate that building an e-commerce brand is not
It's
easy.
very hard, yeah.
You know, the entry point is the entry barrier is low. It's like if you've got a physical location, you got to pay for the rent, you got to pay for the fit out. And
exactly,
all that, right?
Exactly.
But the benefit is you have footfall coming into your store. A lot of these e-commerce brands, they just set up a website, put a few products up there, and think people are going to buy it like hotcakes, right? And then the funny thing is that some of these e-commerce brands, they then end up setting up a physical location, right? Because they feel like they can sell more if they have a physical location. So you've obviously built a successful e-commerce business. What do you think is the key to success scaling up to, you know, you mentioned, 10 million in terms of revenues. What kind of advice would you give to e-commerce entrepreneurs who are setting up, and how would they get to that level? Obviously, Germany's not like the UAE and Saudi, right? It's a massive market. So you're already in a big market, but doesn't mean it's going to be easy, right?
Yeah.
So what kind of advice would you give to those types of entrepreneurs?
Well, the first thing is, if you're not like a website developer, get someone on a freelance basis, for example. He can build your website, he can build your system, or you can pay a monthly fee for a system.
Yeah.
If you know someone who has a warehouse, so I knew someone who had a warehouse, so I used that warehouse. I paid only a small fee on top of every package.
Yeah.
So if we send less packages out, I didn't have any cost. Or look for a fulfillment center. Or if you, like now in UAE, because of my business consultancy, I was able to have the warehouse in USA because he had a warehouse in USA. And I didn't pay any storage fee as well.
Oh, nice.
And he sent it to Amazon, for example. So if you find these people or contacts, you can reduce the risk and all the costs.
Yeah.
And office you don't need. You can just rent a co-working office.
Yeah.
Or someone again where you can put your label on the office. So there's always ways around. So don't put yourself into long contracts. Just test it first. Don't hire any people. Get freelancers. Just do a short-term contract for a warehouse or fulfillment center, 1, 2, 3 months. Don't do longer, for example, because you don't know it's going to work with that warehouse, with that person. And then just scale it from there. And then also don't buy too many products. It depends if you're doing drop shipping. You won't have any much risk.
Yeah.
But you have to buy like your own products. Also, just pay more and get less quantity is very important. What I've done at the end of Corona, I lost a couple of €100,000 because I thought it's going to carry on.
Yeah.
So I imported masks. I bought a lot of Corona test. A week later said Corona's finished. So I had a bunch of products on stock, and that's where I've also learned to, okay, you take risk all the time, but how can I minimize it? So I said to myself, my online shop is only going to be drop shipping, and the marketplaces, I will only buy the products because there I can buy small quantities.
Yeah.
I know I'm going to sell. So it's in, out, in, out. So I reduced that risk as well by just buying the products I need because I know I'm going to sell them.
Yeah.
And then you can slowly scale again. And that's how you don't need much money then in the beginning.
It's interesting what you're saying because I guess from what I'm hearing, you focus on the process. You don't focus on the product.
No, I could sell anything. I'm doing hygiene products.
Yeah.
It's like boring, you know?
But you don't focus on, you don't put yourself to say, look, I'm going to focus on a particular product and that's it. You have a process, right? And I guess one of the things that I think you're saying, and something that I'm learning, is the fact that it's the process that's really important. If you've got a good process from picking the right product to fulfillment, to having a good website, to selling to the customer, that gives you the infrastructure to then pick and choose a product. Because I guess in e-commerce, are you following trends mainly in terms of what's coming in and what's going on in the market, and then you bring in a product?
In the Corona times, yes.
Yeah.
Like masks or special Corona tests, you know, I was okay, this is going to be a trend. So I was telling my SEO guy, create this page, use some keywords. And a few weeks later, I was at position 1. I was a bestseller with some products, you know. So I did follow the trends, but now I don't follow any trends. I just follow the process in the end, my system optimization. That's it. Because trends, they finish quick, don't they?
Yeah. So do you now focus on the brand now, and you do a lot of work on the brand for the product? Is that what you do with your business now?
Yes, also. But what I'm actually now focusing is just to scale the business in bringing the products on higher positions on the marketplaces, and then we are adding now Temu as well. So we have like 3 different marketplaces where we're adding always new products to find good products which can sell on the marketplaces, and then doing the SEO for the drop shipping on the online shop. So that's where we are focusing on. So if we have like say 3 good marketplaces, which is like that, there's some €500 profit, there's 600, there's 2,000, there's 200. So that adds up, and that's every day profit in the total, which then times 30. So that's where I'm focusing on in the end.
Nice. And you sell the same products in Germany and in the US, correct?
USA is a cosmetic product.
Okay.
That's a smaller business. It's just a test, which we started 1 year back, just to see the market. The thing is, you can't do every product in every country because USA is the biggest e-commerce in the world.
Yeah.
So it's very competitive. There's different systems, there's different costs of ads, and you need a lot of money to really scale. You need a lot of ad spend if you're putting it on Amazon, for example. So it's not like if people see all these YouTube channels and Instagram do drop shipping, that's a product you can just start on Amazon and eBay. It's not like that. It's just
those infamous kind of influencers, right?
Yeah,
you just
it's fake.
set up a business.
it's fake. I always tell people it's very hard. It takes time. You need the right system. You can also be in the right time with the product, and it can work. And then you just need to know how you can scale it, or if you do something else, you know. But it depends on what product category, which country you're doing it in. Have you got the system in place? So it all depends. It's not like you just start and it works. It doesn't work like that.
And it's quite interesting because obviously you're in 2 massive markets for e-commerce, Germany and the US. And you've mentioned that you're testing your US market at the moment, but you identified already that it's very, very competitive. So for a lot of my clients, you know, the US is a dream, right? To set up their e-commerce store out there is a dream, because that's where you're printing money in commerce.
Yeah.
How do you compare the German and the US e-commerce market?
I can also add on UAE. I also tested.
Yep.
We're also selling in the cosmetic in UAE.
Oh, nice.
UAE is a very small market. It will take time to that really compete. USA and Germany, I think Germany is easier because, okay, we have 80 million people and it's just bit more easier. And how many people? A few 100 million in USA. There's more people selling there, and the costs are higher for the ad spend as well
in the US.
in the US.
Ah,
Okay.
okay.
So it's very hard to really like get to the top 10. It will take longer and longer because you need a lot of money to really go up. So it's much harder in the USA, but probably also will depend on the product niche. So if you ask me, I would choose say maybe a smaller market like Germany or UK, France, for example. But if you have a lot of funds available and it's the right product, then USA, it's very interesting. But it could take longer to really compete. The competition is too high. It's not easy. UAE, it's very small market. You have Amazon and you have Noon. In the end, that's the only big the big marketplaces here. So it's and the prices are also very, very low. Like if you do the marketplaces on Amazon on Noon, it's a quicker process, and customers can have the product on the same day, for example.
You have that in Germany and in the US the same day?
You do, but not everywhere.
Yeah.
And UAE is just because it's like small, and in Dubai or UAE here, so it can be delivered within the same day or the next day. And here they have the pickup. In Germany, you have to go to the post office if you have a return, for example. So.
Wow. So you probably don't even want to do returns if you live in Germany.
Well, all Amazon customers do returns in the end. You get a lot of returns, but our returns actually, I think, it's only a few percent, not much. But here it's easy. Here you just click on return and they pick it up, so you don't have less headache in the end.
No, I mean, I'm just thinking about my wife, and she orders a lot of things and then she returns a lot of things as well. I feel sorry for them.
It is, because the thing is, when you have returns as a dealer, usually sometimes you can't use the product again, and the returns you're paying, like you have to pay a return fee of sometimes it's like $10 for a product, and then add that up. Sometimes you don't make any profit, and you see your profit of the day and you think there's 4 returns and it's already reduced it by €60, for example. So, but the customer's king.
No. I 100% agree, and thanks for sharing your experience on e-commerce. Now, in Dubai, you've got a different business though, right? It's not a product business, it's not a trading business, it's not an e-commerce business, it's a consulting business. You do setup, you do real estate as well. How have you found shifting from a product-based business to now services, and doing it in another country? What's your experience been in that so far?
These businesses, it's hard to do, but it's easy because every business is it's like copy paste. But with a service business, you can reach more people. You have more opportunities to engage with people, to make more business collaborations.
Meet them in person as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. We're here, for example, So maybe with my e-commerce business, I wouldn't have this collaboration. I wouldn't meet these people. I would just be on the phone or behind my PC, and no one would know who I am. Maybe if I made or sold the company for 100 million, I would be in the papers and people want to interview me, for example. But with the consultancy and the real estate, you just meet so many people and entrepreneurs around the world, which you like. I met the client. He's from USA. I can use his warehouse, so I wouldn't have that opportunity of if I just do the product business, the e-commerce business in the end. So it opens a lot of doors, but it's very, very hard, I can tell you.
And one of the things I also want to touch upon is the fact that, as an entrepreneur, fitness, health is very important as well. You look like you work out. I know a lot of entrepreneurs who they focus all their time on their business, no time for family, no time for themselves, no time for health. Tell us about your routine, what you do. How often do you go gym? What kind of food do you eat? How has that helped you as an entrepreneur to get your peak performance?
It's very important. Or we can all also look back in the COVID times, where we couldn't train. That killed me. And I think for a lot of people in the end, it makes me crazy. if I can't train. I can now, I don't need to train sometimes for 2, 3, 4 days. I'm fine. I think it's also sometimes healthy that you don't have this addiction, but because I also have the addiction, if I don't train today, I get crazy and I have a negative feeling. A lot of people have that when they go to the gym. They don't, I think it's just like they see themselves, they don't feel good or don't look good, you know? But I think it's very important. I need it just to go to the gym. I don't listen to music. You have the music anyway. You just shut off. It's your only time, actually, especially here in Dubai, your only time where you maybe for yourself, and you can just let all this negative energy, you know, for today, for example, today I slept 5 hours. I woke up, I had nightmares, I was scared, and I said, I'm going to wake up. I was thinking 5 a.m. or something. I said, I'm not going to
I hope
sleep.
you weren't having a nightmare for this podcast.
No, it's just like, as an entrepreneur, probably all entrepreneurs have these things, yeah? So you just like, and then you just wake and you said, okay, I go to the gym, and I did this morning. So it's just, it's a therapy, you know? If I wouldn't do that, I would just have some negative energy in myself, and then you meet people there. So I think for myself, it's very important. I only do the gym. I don't have time for other things.
You go in the morning?
I go always in the morning.
You wake up at like 5 a.m. or?
5 to 7.
Okay.
That's my time. I just wake when I wake,
and
then I just get up. I am on my PC, check my messages, have my breakfast already prepared, get ready. I'm off to the gym, or I train in the apartment sometimes. So it depends. I usually I try to go 3, 4 times a week. I used to go 6 times a week, but at the moment I don't have the time. I just give my body also some rest sometimes.
Rest is very important as well.
I've learned
recovery,
that as well.
Recovery is very important. Yeah,
I've learned that myself. You probably know yourself that you have to sometimes give yourself a rest.
Yeah. Well, how about nutrition? How do you approach nutrition?
For me, it's very important.
Yeah.
But I still like to eat like sweets and stuff like this, you know. But if I do this stuff, it's only in the evening or on the weekend, because if I eat like unhealthy things during the day, I feel it straight away in my body, and I'm not focused. So I have my eggs in the morning, I have some water, and then lunch, rice, fish, usually my standard. Then I have some oats during the day, maybe some more egg, some snacks, and then in the evening I have fish, rice, some salad. So that's like my usual routine. And then if I change that and I have something like unhealthy, I feel it already on the next day as well. So I try to keep my routine. But weekends, I sometimes also
cheat.
I don't like cheat. It's like sometimes I have a burger, but not often, because I know if I have that, I just feel differently. And the next day I can't sleep sometimes. So I try to keep it simple. If I have like sweets, you know, like chocolate pudding or something, like I'm okay with sugar stuff. I'm okay. So I just try to keep the routine. I know I'm focused. I feel better. So it's important. That helps myself.
Helps you perform not just as a entrepreneur, but you know, also as a person, and being able to face the world and, you know, help your business as well, because you as an entrepreneur, you have to always have very high levels of energy every day for your employees, for your customers, you know, for your suppliers, and
you just compete. It's like in the other question you had, how to balance the work and the time with my family or my wife, for example. I get the time, but sometimes I forget, you know. I'm just too much focused on my work, but the wife, I think the family, they just balance you a bit. They take you back to this is reality sometimes, because you just, and you probably yourself as well, like you just, it's like you're in a drug sometimes, you know. You just work, and you never stop, you know. So I feel that as well, to like breathe sometime. It's I like going to the beach, like on the weekend, maybe a few hours, you know. It's like my recovery, like silence, the water, the sun, you know. It's I need that a few hours. I'm good. A few hours, and I got my energy back for the whole week sometimes, you know.
Yeah, and I guess with family, it brings you back to your purpose as well, right? You can work, but ultimately, you know, you are there for your family as well, and you know, it's a completely different world to when you're in entrepreneurship, right? So like, you know, different with your kids and your wife than when you are with employees and with customers and suppliers as well. So I guess for me that gives me more balance as well, and you know, one thing you shouldn't neglect, of course. So
Yeah,
so, yeah.
100%. It's needed, huh? You just fall into like, if you, for example, live yourself, you probably would just work all the time.
Yeah.
I would. I wouldn't do anything else. But is that fulfilling sometimes?
Yeah.
It gets lonely, I think.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point. That's a great point. And I guess we spoke about entrepreneurs going into leaving their jobs to become entrepreneurs. But once you become an entrepreneur, you don't want to burn yourself out. You know, after a year, you don't want to fall out of love with your business because you left your job to set up a business. You want to make sure that you go into entrepreneurship, you start doing things that you maybe didn't even do as an employee, you know, maybe work out a bit more, spend a bit more time with your family, and allow the business to fulfill you as an entrepreneur as well.
Yeah, 100%. And I think my wife, when I met her here in Dubai, if she wouldn't be there, I wouldn't start this journey which I'm doing now with the consultancy, the real estate. You know, I would have gone a different way, or I might be in America in the end. So I maybe would not even sit here. So I think also like family, or my wife especially, they bring you further. You actually, people say you're less focused, but it depends on what partner you have. But you grow more as a person because they push you as well, and they let you live your dreams.
Yeah, no. A support framework is very, very important as an entrepreneur. So yeah, just want to say thank you very much for joining us today. If our viewers, listeners want to get in touch, how can they get in touch with you?
Instagram, Chris Elliott, or on YouTube, Chris Elliott Group, or Chris Elliott, or just Google Chris Elliott Dubai, and then I will show up.
Cool. We'll have your details on the show notes, of course. Amazing speaking to you. You know, learned so much about your experience in Germany and e-commerce. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you for joining us on the Alphapreneurs podcast. I hope you enjoyed the show. Please subscribe and give us a 5-star rating and a review. Your feedback is appreciated. For show notes and more, check out the link in the description and connect to me directly on LinkedIn and search for Rayhan Aleem. See you in the next episode.